Hey guys, before we start, a quick shout out to Alpha Dog Nutrition for sponsoring this podcast. Alpha Dog products are now available at dusupply.com, and you can use code ALPHADOG15 at checkout for 15% off and a credit for free shipping to try it yourself. Now let's get you to your podcast.
Welcome to my podcast, where we are going to talk about a lifestyle with dogs and threw in a few life lessons along the way. Whether you're a hound hunter, bird dog enthusiast, running setters, pointers, retrievers, or a flat-out running dog junkie, this podcast is for you. I am your host, Heath Hyatt, a certified law enforcement canine trainer with over 3 decades of personal and professional training and handling experience. It's time for me to pay it forward. So grab your leads, lace up those boots, and come and join me on this lifelong process of teaching, training, and learning. Do you like to be outdoors like I do? If so, unlock the wilderness with onX Maps. It is your ultimate guide to exploring, hunting, and conquering the great outdoors. With detailed maps, real-time tracking, and exclusive access to public and private lands, onX Maps is your key to adventure. Discover the possibilities and never get lost again with onX. So subscribe today using the promo code K920, letter K, number 920, and know where you stand. It's that time. It's Wednesday, and we are ready for another episode of What's Up Wednesday, where we're going to get all of our canine training know-how, right? Man, there's a lot going on. Spring's about, well, it's not over. Still got the month of June, but we got a lot going on. A lot to talk about today, and I mean a lot. So I'm going to try to cram it in to one episode. If not, then we'll have to roll out to 2 episodes. A few announcement type of things. We'll get that out of the way. So guys, I'm starting a YouTube channel, and I'm going to download all of these interviews that I do onto the YouTube channel. So if you guys want to go and watch, re-listen to them or whatever, you're going to have that opportunity. So I'm working on that. That's in the works right now. We have some other news that may pop up next week or the week after. I don't want to jinx that. So we got some exciting stuff going on here in Southern Virginia. So you guys, y'all need to pay attention, because good things are coming, right? Good things come to those who wait. Remember, we talk about patience in dog training, and patience is a virtue. So hopefully those things will come out, and it'll be exciting and just make things a lot better. That's what we're looking for. So yesterday, we had to certify dogs. So where I certify everybody around me, I don't have anybody to certify me. So I can't certify myself. So I have to have somebody come in. So I have my master trainer, kind of the guy that mentored me, that took me under his wing in this area. He has wrote letters and letters and letters of recommendation for me to be a trainer and then a master trainer. I've spent a lot of hours working with him, training dogs, picking apart problems, so on and so forth. So he came down yesterday and certified a small group of us, which he basically did it for me and a couple other guys certified while we were at it. So just kind of knocked out 2 birds with 1 stone. And I'm hoping I'm going to have him on the podcast here in the next month or so. So as soon as I get back from Canada, that is my goal, is to go sit down and have a conversation with him and kind of take you guys back to when I started and kind of what he was seeing and what he was thinking as, you know, I started my journey in the police world. He was actually the very first person in 2005 that certified me with my first narc dog. So, yeah, that's in the works, and we're going to make that happen. It's just going to have to be when I get back from Canada. So this week is it's the end of the week, and this week has been the National Police Week. So when you hear this podcast, it's going to be a couple weeks behind. So when you hear this, like I said, it's going to be several weeks behind us. So it's National Police Week, and for what that means for you guys is probably nothing. So it's National Police Week. For what that means for us is it's a week where a lot of people, they come and bring us food, and they bring us little, gift bags and thank you notes and cards, and just show their appreciation for police and what we do and, our sacrifice. And they have a memorial service in Washington, D.C. that goes on pretty much all week. And that's when they put the names of the officers who have sacrificed their life in the line of duty. So Friday, I went to a neighboring jurisdiction. I had to meet one of the canine officers there, pick up a key to get into the range so we could certify yesterday. And so I pulled in at the gas station on the town limits right off the interstate, and he shows up, and you know how the cops are. We sit side by side, window to window. I'm facing one way, he's facing the other way. You know what they say, right? If you see two people sitting and talk like that, it's one or two people. And of course, one of them's the cops and the other one's a bus driver, right? Because they're sitting there talking. So anyway, we're sitting there talking, and out of my rear view mirror, this is my driver's side mirror, not my rear view, because I can't see through because of my cage, right? I see this person walking towards our car. So I look over at CJ to see what he's looking at, because he's facing them and he's watching them. And I can finally pick up, and there's three individuals that were coming and walking towards my car. So I'm looking at them through the mirror, and they walk up and they say, "Hey, we don't want to interrupt your conversation, but we want to thank you guys for what you do." And we're like, "Oh, okay, you're welcome. It's what we do. We appreciate it and everything." And the lady said, I want to give you guys something. So when you watch this video, when it drops on YouTube, you will see it. She give us a T-Rex footprint that says you've been 82'd. You see it right here in the video. And she said, "I want to tell you that, I lost my husband, who was a police officer from McAllister Police Department in Oklahoma, and his name was T-Rex. So we are handing these out that says you've been 82'd. So on the back of this footprint, I'm going to read it to you guys. It says, "Thank you for your service, your dedication to your community. You are appreciated. The family of fallen officer Danny T-Rex Kelly, number 82, McAllister Police Department, end of watch 1/30/22, January 30th, 2022. And, when people do that, I've got chill bumps on my arms right now. Like literally chills have run up my arms, because it's emotional. We understand what's went on, what goes through that. This family, it was a mom, a daughter, and a son. And the son's named Grant. And they come up to us and told us they appreciated what we do, but they're the ones that lost their dad and their husband in this line of work. So anyway, I really appreciated that. They give us a little coin that had 82 on it. It's actually in my car. I'm going to put it in my office when I get back to work this coming week. And I thought that was a very nice gesture. It was much appreciated that the community does that for us, but also that these three people that was on their way back to Oklahoma had stopped at the gas station and seen two cops pulled up there. Little did they know, we were just exchanging. I was getting a key from him so I could open the range up and get certified the next day. But I appreciate it. So for this podcast, and I hope that somehow, some way this gets to them and they can hear it. This podcast I'm going to dedicate to William Daniel Kelly, T-Rex Kelly, number 82 of the McAllister Police Department. Buddy, this one's for you. We appreciate your family. We appreciate what you've done. Danny was 48 years old, 23 years of service. 23. I'm 21 in. So he had 2 more years than I've got in. And his badge number was 82. So here you go, Danny. This one's for you. I just wanted to put that out there. Like I said, it was kind of touching that they did that, and I appreciate it, and I want to pay it forward. I want to pay it back. I want to pay it forward. So this one's for you guys. Attention hound hunters and outdoor enthusiasts. Are you ready to experience the thrill of fair chase hunting? If so, check out Southern Hound Hunting Magazine. It's your ultimate guide to all forms of hound hunting, starting in the flat woods of southern Georgia and covering vast terrains across the nation. We bring you genuine stories where the chase is exhilarating as the catch, recipes, and the brag pages that follow. These adventures will take you down memory lane. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a newcomer to the sport, if it's hound worthy, we've got you covered. Join us in this heart-pounding world of hound hunting. To subscribe or to buy the latest swag, go to southernhoundhunting.com. You can also follow along on Facebook and Instagram, where the hunt never ends. Get ready for the real fair chase experience when you join the pack here at Southern Hound Hunting Magazine. So let's talk about certification. So I had to go through certification, and some of you guys don't know what that consists of for me. I run a patrol dog, a dual purpose. So that means he's got dual functions, right? I do tracking, I do apprehension, building searches, open area searches, so on and so forth. My narcotics, I don't run much narcotics anymore because when they made marijuana made it legal in the state of Virginia under an ounce, my dog had marijuana on him, so I only can do distribution stuff right now. So I'm not working a whole lot of narc stuff, but tracking is my thing. I love tracking, so we do a lot of tracking, and patrol work is basically obedience. So I have to go through an obedience routine, which means I have to do heeling off lead. The dog's got to make sharp turns and go with me. I do a walk. I do a jog. I take off running. I down the dog in place. I take off from him while he's in a down. Then I go like 20 yards away. I turn around about face. And actually I posted a reel on this, I think. And I have to do hand signals only. So I raise my hand straight up. He goes into a sit. I point to the ground. He goes to a down. And then I have to recall him back to a heel position. And that's kind of the routine for the obedience. So that we do that. And then we go into the patrol function. So, I tell everybody this when I teach classes or I do demos for the public. The dog is it's the only tool on my belt. We carry a gun, I carry a taser. I've got OC, I've got an Aspeton that pops out. The dog is the only tool on my belt that I can deploy. I can send it downrange and either terminate it, which means the dog will go into a down halfway or wherever I tell him to, or recall him, which means he turns and comes back to me. And comes back to where I'm at. It's the only tool on my tool belt that we can do that with. So a recall is one of the things we do. We have the decoy downfield. We deploy the dog into an apprehension, and then somewhere in between there, we do a recall. Dog comes back to us, and then we send the dog again onto a bite. So the dog goes, apprehends the decoy, and we go up. And we have to call off, which means out the dog off the decoy. We have to bring him down to a heel or a sit or stay down, whatever you want to do. Bring him back for that. I put my dog into a down. He's more comfortable on the ground. He don't like to sit a whole lot. And if you put him in a sit, most of the time he's going to go to his belly. So I bring him back, put him in a down. Then I have to go do a pat down of the suspect, which is the decoy, and then simulate placing him in cuffs and escort him off with the dog at a stay. Dog can't break. Well, let's say my dog does 95% of that very well. Just like he does it very recall, man, with beauty. It is a thing of beauty when I recall him. He comes back, he comes into a heel position. I mean, he looks like he's ready. Like he that's it. Send him on a downfield, man. He smashes the decoy, boom. Like you can hear the pop. You know, he got a good bite. And the out, he comes off the bite and in a down, and then he wants to re-engage. He don't like to hold that. He'll come off the bite, but he likes to get it again and again and again. So I have to work on that. That's my nemesis. That's what I have to work on, right? So anyway, par for course. The dog did exactly what I said he did. Recall perfect, downfield perfect, out, boom, comes back. I take one step towards the decoy. He's like, let me get him, Dad. Let me get him. So he goes and he engages. So I have to work on that for just a minute. I got it cleaned up, and we moved on, got out of the we passed certification. So it is what it is. But certification, you're sending a dog downfield on a decoy, that is like the highest reward for that dog. And, we talk about bringing the dogs off the tree, when we're hunting bear or coon or whatever, and having your dog shut down out of drive, come to you and go and leave. And that's extremely hard. I think Ariel and I actually talked about this in a podcast. When I've got a decoy downfield, I can work that scenario time after time after time. I can get 30, 40 reps in a day if that's what I need to do. With bear hunting, it's not that easy. You get one chance, one bear, how many ever times you tree it, which may not, you may not tree a bear a day. You may be lucky and tree a bear or two a day. And so it's a difficult task, but that's the principle. I just want to kind of paint you that picture. If you can call your dogs off of a tree, that's like calling them off of a decoy and having them come to you. And it would be like them coming to you and you leading them away out of the woods, never putting a lead on them. And man, I hear some guys talk about that, and that's awesome, especially to do it with multiple dogs. You do one dog at a time, you can conquer that pretty easily. You add two dogs into it, makes it a little tougher, 3, 4, 5, it just goes on up and up. So anyway, we got through certifications. We did Bloodhound. We had tracking with the Bloodhound. Everybody did tracking. 3 of us did patrol work. Oh, gunfire. We didn't talk about gunfire, right? So one of the tasks we have to do is have the dog at a heel by my left side, non-weapon side, and I have to fire 2 rounds. Bam, bam. Dog's got a hold. And then the decoy who's standing downfield has to fire 2 rounds. Bam, bam. Dog's got a hold. And then, the dog has to come into compliance and, do a walk away or whatever to comply. And so that's another phase of it, to make the dog neutral from gunfire. That way the dog's not just attacking loud noises. And we used to do that in certification, and it was horrible because if you shot a gun, that dog was going after it. Like no ands, ifs, and buts. Dog was going after it. So we got through certification. I need to work a little bit on my re-engagement because, like I said, that's where mine's at. I mean, I cleaned it up really good yesterday, but I need to work on it more throughout the year. Shouldn't have to clean it up the day of certification. But man, last week I taught academy class. I taught a SWAT class. The week before that, I was teaching DT all week. So I just didn't have a chance. I mean, it's hard when you've got a lot of irons in the fire, and that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. So, all right, I want to talk about a few other things before we get into the dogs. And then we're going to talk about the dogs. So I've been using my 300 quite a bit. I'm really pleased with it. The battery life on it, you've heard me talk about it already. The battery life on that thing is phenomenal. Like I'm using it 2 or 3 times, and it may be 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. I used it the other night for 4 hours. And I've been roading the dog. So anyway, I'll get to that in just a second. But the battery life on that thing's phenomenal. I did something that I said I'll never do. So if you never say never, there you go. You're going to end up doing it. But after talking to Mr. Jason Doobie at W Hunting Supply, I decided to get the subscription to the maps. And here's why. I'm going to be doing some traveling this year. I'm going to be in a few different states, as far north as Maine, I'm hoping. And I didn't want to buy a card for each state and just switch it out. So the subscription was $49.99, I think. I mean, that was it, $49.99. So I looked at it. Jason recommended it, and I'm not a big subscription person, but I ended up going ahead on his recommendation and buying the subscription. I downloaded it, and then I downloaded it on Friday, and then Saturday night, I actually used it, and I was well pleased. And I know some of the guys have done this with the 200s and the 100s. My problem with the 100 and the 200 when you had the card in it, and I bought the card for Virginia, is it took so long to when you would switch, like if you switch mountain range, like if I was on top of the mountain and I need to see on the other side of it, it took it a long time to like download so you could actually see it. So it would you get half a screen and it would pause, and then a few seconds later or a minute later or whatever, it would come up with the whole screen. And I didn't want that. I do not have that with the subscription. I will say that. So well pleased with it. I'm happy about it. I'm going to use it for a year. If I don't like it, I'll cancel it. And if I do like it, I mean, for $49, I'll probably, if I like it, I'll just keep my subscription. So I do like that. I just want to tell everybody, I know I've seen a thing on Facebook about the maps, and people were talking about it. And like I said, I really like the subscription. I'm not telling you not to get the card. I just don't have the card. I have it in my 100, and I have it turned on. I don't even use it because it takes so long to download. So I like it. I would recommend it. It's worked so far for me, and I've had it out more than once. Like I said, we'll get to that when I get through this other stuff. My dog box. I posted it on my feed on my Facebook and my Instagram. Marshall Nestor, I know he don't like the attention, but he built me a dog box for my truck so I could go to Canada and take all my dogs instead of taking old Rusty with 340,000 miles. I just didn't want to have somebody come and pick me up when I was going up there. So Marshall built me a dog box, custom did it. He did it exactly like the things that I asked him to do. I'm really pleased with it. I had, in fact, Bryce had come on there and he said, "You don't have slides to shut them off?" Yes, I do. They're actually fold down. They fold down from the inside. I can shut half the box off or all the box. I wanted it a little bit cooler for summertime because I do travel to New York, and if I go to BB's, it's warmer down there. So I have it set up where I can have the whole box open, half the box open, or none of the box open. Marshall done a phenomenal job. So kudos, Marshall. Thank you very much. It is a number one. It's a solid built box. I couldn't be happier with it. So while I was up there, I had to go up to Green Bank, West Virginia to meet Marshall. And a few guys up in that area, I know a few guys that listen to this. I went up through White Sulphur and went up 92, met Marshall. So on the way back, I had come out of Pocahontas County back into Greenbrier and was coming by the Anthony detention facility there above White Sulphur. And here it comes. I passed a Toyota with a box load of dogs, and I'm like, oh, it's Saturday night, man. They're going hunting. And then it wasn't just a second later. Here come another Toyota with a box full of dogs. And then I get down around the curve, and at a stop sign, coming to a stop sign, there was another guy with a truckload of dogs. And I'm like, man, you guys are so lucky, man. You can run all year long. Even if you're just running once or twice a week or every other week, you're keeping your dogs busy. You're keeping them on game. That's a luxury that you guys have that a lot of places don't have. I know North Carolina on private property you can. Virginia, absolutely not. You've got 3 months, which is August, September, and December. That's why I have to do so much traveling. I do like to hunt. That's an excuse, but I have to do a lot of traveling to keep my dogs busy for, 4 or 5 months a year. So if I passed you, some guy was giving me the old wide eye. He's looking at me like, who is this dude? New flashy dog box riding down the road. But kudos to you guys. If it was you that I passed, I hope you guys had a good hunt. I'm jealous that I can't do what you're doing. So anyway, I have been out roading my dogs quite a bit, trying to get them in shape and trying to work off, couple stuff. No, I don't know. I don't even know how to say it. It's not like training issues because it's not really a training issue, but I've been out roading my dogs. I split them up into 2 groups. I'm running my old dogs with just them, and then I've got my young dogs out running them. And then I've got 2, when I say 2 puppies, they're a year old, so they're not technically puppies. They're juveniles at this point. I've got those 2 out. I'm trying to bust them up, put one with an older group and one with the other group, so I don't have 2 of them causing trouble at one time, because that's just more than you can handle at a time. So I've been roading the dogs, and man, you can tell that they are like, they know something's coming. They know. You know how you guys, when you're hunting your dogs consistently during the season, you turn on the kitchen light in the morning at 4 o'clock and every dog in the yard starts, howling and wailing. They're ready to roll. Like, the dogs know. They're getting loaded up in the truck. We're running some, splitting them up. Like I said, I'm doing it about 4 nights a week. And I'm doing it at nighttime too, where I live at, just safer that way. I've got an old gravel road around the way from where I'm at, and just trying to cut down on traffic, so I'm not running into traffic. So I'm trying to do it later at night, which brings me to my other thing that I am highly impressed with, is my Cajun light. I have to tell you guys that LW hooked me up with the blinder. I got the blinder from him, and going back when I first started coon hunting, I used my great grandfather's old wheat light. And when I say the wheat light, the one he used in the mines when he was mining. And, you had to pour water in it and keep acid in it. And the thing, even when it was turned on, it wasn't that great. And then when I started competition hunting pretty hard, I got me the, what was that thing? It was orange, Bright Eyes. I got me a Bright Eyes. In fact, I had 2 of them. And man, you'd wear your belt, around your waist, and that thing be hanging off. And that thing was heavy, actually. I didn't realize how heavy it was, but wearing a Bright Eyes and used it for years. In fact, I still have it. And then old Fielder hooked me up with the K-Light. So I've had it for, I don't know, last 4 years, maybe 5. I've had a K-Light. Well, when I started coon hunting with some of the younger boys around here, trying to get my young dogs started, the stuff that they were running was just blinding. Like that K-Light was not as bright. And I decided that I'm going to try to do something else. So anyway, I got me a Cajun light from LW. It's the blinder. The couple things I like about it is the switch to turn it on is on the front of the helmet, not the back. My K-Light's on the back, so I've got to reach back there and fool with it. Man, it's got high lows on about every type of beam you can think about. It's got the high and low on the red. It's got an amber, high and low amber. It's got the laser on it. Like I said, I've used that thing probably a dozen times now, and I couldn't be more pleased with it. Man, that thing will literally burn the lights off. It will burn the leaves off the trees. Like, it's phenomenal. So very pleased with my Cajun light. Look LW up, Cajun Lights. Like I said, he does not sponsor me, has no affiliation other than he's making a good product, and I really like the product. It's very nice. And if you've been watching my stories, I got my new track laying machine, and I can't wait to start posting some videos with that. It's the one that Lewis made me over in Miguel over in Spain. They finally got it made and got it going. I tell you what, man, trying to ship something from a different country, going through customs is like the act of Congress. Holy moly. But I finally got it. It's got the food tray. It's got the compartment for the odor. And then it's got the nozzle. I got 2 different nozzles on it. I can stream spray it or I can drip, depending on what I want to do. It's got about a 400-yard range on it. So I've got one of my good friends has a litter of pups right now that I'm hoping I can get one. And if I get that, they're 2 weeks old. Yeah, they're 2 weeks old now. So hopefully when I get back from Canada, I'll have a pup that I can kind of start videoing and showing you guys what I'm doing with it. And I also have my pearl female bred to a really super nice male dog. And I'm only going to keep one out of that litter. I'm going to start the rest of them and place them strategically. They should make really, really nice dogs. This is the line of dogs that I've been hunting for 30 years that goes back to my Ring dog. In fact, the male that I bred to is a great-great-grandson of Ring. The female, my pearl female, is a granddaughter of Ring. So I'm going to double up on him. It's just a generation apart. And there's an outcross on both sides. So when you look at that genetically, it's not a horrible thing. But yeah, that line of dogs have made really good trail dogs. They are super tough, super gamey, and they run all day long. So I'm really looking forward to that. You know, never know how they're going to turn out, right? I can't, you can't promise, but I'm looking forward to that cross. If she has pups, I'll know here in about the next 2 weeks. She's supposed to have them when I get back from Canada. So hopefully if she does, I'll start documenting it, videoing it. Like I said, I'm starting this YouTube channel up. I'm going to put some bits and pieces on the YouTube channel that you're not seeing on my social media and stuff. So looking forward to that. And I can't wait to use this TrackLand 500 machine, whatever it is, but it's awesome. So look forward to that coming. So let's talk about running dogs and pups and everything else. We'll kind of finish it up with this. So I've been running my dogs. I've been traveling a little bit. And the last time I think we talked about the puppies, the bee litter, right? I was working on Briggs, and he had the recall incident where I started applying stem to him, and he took off fight or flight, right? And he beat feet and took off like a scalded dog, literally. And I just want to reiterate that I was not overstemming him. It was nothing that I was doing drastic. I wasn't doing anything that was too much. Like I said, I had already tested my dogs. I kind of knew where they were at, but for whatever reason that day, like that worked on him. So since then, I went back to the check cord. I got my 50-foot check cord out and started working him. And as soon as he realized when I stemmed and I could turn him towards me and get him coming towards me, he understood. He understood it. And what I did is, as he learned the process over again, he already knew it. Okay, let's go back. He already knew it because of the foundation I laid. But I kind of had to go back and touch it up, right? Kind of like you mess up painting on the wall and you got to go back and put another coat on, or you need to touch up a spot that you made a mess or whatever. Same thing in dog training. Go back to the foundation. So he knew, worked on that 2 or 3 different times throughout a week. And then what I started doing is I turned the stem down. Okay. So I'm on 3 on my alpha. I'm on 3 medium. That's about as high as I like to go. So I actually turned it down to a 3 low. Okay. And what I done is when he would turn and start to me, I would just continue to hold the stem. And as we went through this process, he got faster and faster and faster. And like I said, I only done this like 5 or 6 times total. Okay. Total. So that means turning him with a cord, getting him to come to me, and then back. So I did this 5 or 6 times, and I felt very confident. So I took the check cord off, let him run around the yard one day, and light stem. I called him, even though I don't care what he was going. I don't care what his reaction was. I went ahead and light stemmed 3 on low, and he turned. And I mean, he was at a good trot coming to me. I let off. When he gets to me, of course, I give him a handful of kibble, pet him up real good, and that's the end of that. So I decided I was going to go hunt with a buddy one night. So I decided I'm going to take Briggs, my problem child, my bad apple. And so I load him up in the truck. I drive 3 hours. I have not done that with him. We get up to where we're going to hunt, and I get him out with the other dogs, and I had 2 other dogs too. And we turn them loose. The dogs go and they strike. Well, he goes with them. Now, this is his first time, guys. He's not run anything, okay? He's not run anything. He has been around the yard. We've done our foundation stuff. I told you I've been very cautious not letting these guys run junk, because I know when I do that they're going to be a little bit more stubborn and hard-headed to get off of it. So I've been very cautious about it. So the dogs are running. He goes with them. Well, the dogs drop off a ridge into a road. They run down the road, and then they hop over a berm and drop on off of that into a hollow. So he goes down the road, and we're watching on the GPS. He goes down the road, and he misses where they dropped over. So he keeps going. He makes a big loop in there. He messes around and when I say a few minutes, it could have been a minute. It could have been 3 minutes. I don't know. You know how time kind of gets distorted sometimes. So he makes a big loop in there and comes around, and he comes back, hits their track, and goes down. Well, they went down this hollow, a little creek bed. They go down it. They cross it. They come up a ridge, cross another logging road, and up into a steep ridge and tree. Okay. So anyway, we get in the vehicles and we drive around. They're treed. We drive around. And when we get to where they cross that second logging road, I see him going backwards. He's backtracking himself back to where we let him loose. And he did. And anyway, we walk into the tree, pet the other dogs up, and come back, and we're coming back down to that logging road. Well, he had come back on his track, and he was, 70 or 80 yards below the second logging road. So, okay, this is what's going through my mind. This is what I'm thinking. We're driving down the road, and I'm like, all right, stop. He's right here. So I get out, and I'm like, golly geez, what if my recall does not work? Like, what happens if he doesn't want to come to me? I apply stem, and he beats feet again. Then where are we at? So I holler for him. This is his first time out in the wood, like hunting at night with strange dogs, 3 hour road trip. Like, a lot of this stuff is new to him now, and he's 8 months old. Okay. Let's just clarify, 8 months old. I don't expect, my expectations for him is not that he's just going to blow the world up at 8 months old and do everything that I'm asking him to do. I'm not even looking for that. I'm just looking to get him out and give him exposure to a different environment, different surroundings, and everything that's going on. That's my goal. All right. So pull up here, I get out and I holler, and I'm like, all right, he's not moving. Well, all of a sudden, then he starts coming, I can see him on the Garmin. He's coming to me, and he stops again. I holler again, and then he pops up in the road, I don't know, 40 yards below me. And I'm like, all right, Briggs, come on. And he comes up the road. Well, when he gets in my light, he kind of how dogs will kind of cower down, like, I don't know what's going on here. So I just knelt down, and he comes waddling up to me, and I give him, big old, we're having a party. This is a party is what's happening. So, man, I'm high pitched, we're having a good time. Attaboy, yeah. I get that from my canine training. We'll talk about that one day. So we're having a big party right here. I load him up in the truck, and we go on. And for most of you guys, y'all are thinking, what are you thinking? Well, here's what I'm thinking. New place, new dogs, 3-hour drive, new environment, and my recall worked without any assistance from me. I didn't have to call a friend, the Bluetooth from the handheld to his collar. I didn't have to phone a friend. He come to me. I was very pleased with the outcome of that hunt, even though he didn't make it to the tree. He didn't tree. He didn't even run the track. He went behind the dogs. So for me, it was a win-win. And I think that we have to look at things that way. It's the little things. You heard me and Jarrett Moss talk about it. It's the little things that are so important. And that was a lot of little things that made me very happy. So all in all, it was a good hunt. I've been out another time, and I decided is that I'm trying to get my dogs in shape for Canada. And right now I need to be taking more of those dogs hunting so I can, knock the dust off of them, get them out, get them some exercise. So I'm going to put the bee litter up. So right now, from the day that I'm recording, I'm only 2 weeks out from Canada. So I'm going to continue to do my stuff around the yard, maybe take some short trips in the truck. I'll continue to do some of that stuff a couple times over the next 2 weeks. But when I get back from Canada is when we're going to get in the nuts and bolts of things. That's when I'm really going to start trying to get these dogs going. So we'll have to catch up on that after we go to Canada and we get that trip out of the way. So here's what I'm going to leave you with. So Saturday night, while we're hunting, where I'm sitting there with two of my buddies, and me and one of the buddies are having a conversation. So the dogs basically busted up. Okay, so they go over a ridge into a hollow, and they make a loop, and they get halfway through this little loop, a little C, and the dogs shut up. It's getting awful quiet. My one buddy's looking at me like, how come every time you'll hear this is happening? I'm like, I don't know. My dog's junk. I don't know. And the other buddy was like, I don't like this. And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, I mean, it don't sound good. I'm not sure what's going on, but, it'll be all right. I mean, I'm not panicking or I'm not upset about it. I'm just like, yeah, it is what it is. My dogs hadn't been out. So, I don't have a whole lot of expectations other than they get a little exercise. So for me, it's a little different. So they bust up, and some of the dogs come back up the holler and go down another hollow. A couple of the dogs just kind of flip around and actually start going back on the backtrack. And they come around on the backtrack, and they're barking, but it's not like it was when they left out of there. So, the one guy's like, man, I just don't know about this. I don't know about this. Well, about that time, one of the dogs threw out a big old beautiful locate. I mean, you heard him come treed, and like, yeah, man. That's what gets us. That's what gets us our blood pumping, right? Throw that big locate out, and then there was this second, another dog come on the tree, and then another dog come on the tree, and then everybody was ended up right back where they should have been. So we're in some steep country. The dogs basically, when you look at it from, the 20,000 feet view, they basically it was down a steep embankment, and they overrun it. And then when they overrun it, everybody got quiet because they're trying to pick it back up. And then they turn around. Some of them turn around and come back and was able to pick it up, and they treat. So I'm driving home that night, and I'm kind of going through my head like, all right, I don't know if you guys do this or not, but like I spend a lot of time just processing thoughts and what ifs and how comes and everything else. When I'm driving, when I'm out on my boat and it's quiet, like that's kind of the stuff that's going through my mind. So I'm driving home at night, and I'm like, all right, so yeah, it didn't sound good. Not sure what's going on, but it is what it is. Like, I'm a human being, and I make mistakes probably daily, honestly. I probably make little mistakes daily and big mistakes more so than I shouldn't, right? And I got to comparing, to the dogs. I'm like, how many people, and I'm guilty of this, like when I go hunting, sometimes I'm a little too serious. And all the guys that hunt with me will tell you, like, I'm that way. But when it's bear season and I've got my dogs out, my expectations to catch game. And I know that sometimes I got to chill those expectations, or you got to be able to have fun while you're doing it. So I'm driving home and I'm thinking about making mistakes. And the mistake ended up not being a mistake. It just took them a minute to figure it out. Okay. They overrun it. They come back, they treat, we all good. But mistakes, I make mistakes every day and bigger mistakes once in a while. And when you look at the dog, a dog is just that. It's a dog. And if I make mistakes every day, and I have the ability to rationalize and process and think forward, learn from my previous mistakes, not to make mistakes again. And if you keep making the same mistake, then it becomes a choice, right? And I look at how we look at the dogs that, we expect our dogs to be perfect. And, if you guys are out there running competitions, hunting for those trucks and $100,000 and you're paying, $5,000 and $6,000 and $8,000 entry fees, I get it. I mean, that dog needs to be like a well-oiled machine clicking on every cylinder, right? But in reality, like, they're dogs. They're going to make mistakes. And if I'm not perfect, how can I ask my dog to be perfect? How can I ask him or her not to make any mistakes on a daily basis? And how can I be upset with them when they do? Because if I flip the mirror and I look in the mirror at myself, that's who I am. And I think if every one of us look in the mirror, then we say, I made a little mistake today, or I didn't do this right. But we're able to correct it and move on. For the dog, it's a little different how things work and everything. But anyway, I was thinking about that, and I was like, if I'm comparing myself to a dog, I have higher expectations for that dog than I do myself sometimes. And that's not fair to the dog. So I'm human, and humans make mistakes. We make mistakes daily, and they're dogs. And sometimes they're going to make mistakes, and we shouldn't get so bent out of shape or be on so much on the business end of it. Sometimes you just got to laugh and say, you know what? It is what it is. Murphy Law, I'll tell you a good one, and I'm going to leave you with this. Teaching the tack school last week, we were doing building clearing with the dog. I do the canine portion of the tack school. We show them how we can go in and clear buildings. We can do it on lead or off lead. If we're on lead, we call it fishing. So stairwells are a danger zone, man. They're horrible because you got to go up. You can't see in behind you. You're walking up the steps backwards, and you're trying to pie that area. So we just use the dog to do it. So I've got a 50-foot lead, and I send the dog up to the first platform. I'm just talking about a school, how they got the platform. And I'll down the dog. I'll let him, take a scent inventory, make sure. And if I think it is, I'll send him on up to the top of the steps and either down him and let the tack team move up, or I'll recall him, let them move up. And once they clear the threshold up there, then I can come in behind them. But preferably I like to have the dog out front. So talking about Murphy's Law, right? My dog's pretty solid on this stuff because we do it a lot. So we get in, me and another guy's getting in, and we're talking about this, and we're explaining what we're going to do. And I go to send my dog up the first flight of steps, and he turns around and he goes to a door in a cafeteria, and he's hung up at that door. Like, he don't want to move. And I'm like, come on, man. So I get him back. I redirect him. I send him up the steps. He goes about 2 steps and goes right back to the cafeteria door. And I'm like, come on, man. Ain't no food in there. Of course, it's an abandoned school. Kind of making fun of him, right? Ain't no food in there. So the third time I send him up, he goes up to the first platform, spins around, and comes right back down the steps right to me. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, we've done this 1,000 times. Get with it. So I bring him back. I put him in a den. I give my announcements, and I send him again. And I never could get this dog to go to the top of the steps, to the top platform. So what I had to do is I had to get the decoy to go up to the top of the steps, which this is a part of the process. We were going to show him this anyway. So I had to get the decoy to go up to the top of the steps. I'd redeploy the dog. The dog shoots up, goes to the top of the steps, gives me an alert that there's somebody there. He's picking up odor, and so on and so forth. But it is what it is. My dog's done that 1,000 times. He's very proficient in it. But for whatever reason, he did not want to operate on all 8 cylinders that day. So mistakes are going to be made. Don't take it out on your dog. Just be patient and enjoy the time you have with him. We'll catch you next time on What's Up Wednesday.